Hey, Mike Elfers here with Ed, Bad Dad. That's good enough for me. We're doing our Almost Punk Enough podcast. How are you, Ed?
I'm fantastic. How about you, Mike?
I am doing really well. I went to a concert last night, and I never ever go to like large arena-based musical performances. So I was gonna gush about that here in a second. Uh, but this is episode 5 of the podcast, Almost Punk Enough. So for the naysayers that said that we weren't going to do it, I think I'm mostly thinking about like the four of us that are actually doing it. We made it. This is a champion moment. I think
It was
the
getting a little dicey, but yeah, came
let's
through.
let's put our booches in the air or whatever it is that you may be drinking, and let's celebrate. Um, so yeah, we're gonna go over some news items here. First, though, I want to talk about this concert in particular. The no photography, no video, no phones. I went to one of those shows. So I went to see, by chance, my friend Roger hurt himself and couldn't go redeem his ticket to see Primus and Pussifer and A Perfect Circle and the Maynard James Keenan birthday party event at the Baxter Arena in Omaha, Nebraska last night. And I went on Roger's behalf with my buddy. And full disclosure, I'm a big fan of Josh Freese. I think that Tool is like cool, probably, but I don't know shit about them or any of Keenan's other projects. And I like Primus. I think they're cool. And I've been playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2, so I've been listening to Jerry is a race car driver a lot. But that is kind of my extent as a listener of this entire lineup. So I'm like a huge poser that already I think visually looked like I didn't belong there because everybody had their big beards and Primus shirts, and I had my like shit-eating face. So this was one of those shows where there were signs everywhere in the arena that there was no photography, no video. That includes cell phones. When the bands were setting up, there were no openers really for this. So while we were getting seated, there was some announcements being made with some televised graphics that explained, don't take videos or photography, you'll get kicked out. And I was kind of waiting for the crowd to kind of boo or something, but like nobody really did. I personally was like, well, this kind of sucks because I ate like a little bit of edible and I'm watching kind of an entire lineup of bands that I know nothing about. So I have to just kind of sit through this whether I like it or not. And I don't have, my Simpsons tapped out. Well, that game's done, but I don't have my cell phone games to play with to kill the time if I, hear a song I'm not into or something. But have you been to a show like this before?
I've never been to a show like this. My best friend saw the Misfits when they did their Reformation touring, and he did not enjoy the situation. But according to him, there was a lot of booing. However, I think that probably had to do with the fact that Tool and Maynard have had this policy for a bit now, a couple of years. So the fans are probably just kind of old hat for them. It's like being surprised if Boris spits blood on you.
Okay, yeah. And Misfits fans, I think in particular, are kind of known for having to play Pokemon Go on their phones at all times. And
I don't know why you have to insult Pokemon Go like that. You could have gone after any other game, but yeah.
I am a level 46 trainer.
I'm only 42.
Well, we should become friends. I wonder if we can hold our barcodes up to the webcam and like scan each other's. Is anybody still paying attention to what we're talking about? So the lights came out. This show was particularly interesting because, as I said, it was Maynard's 61st birthday party. And so as he put it into the microphone, his gift from all of his friends and family was to share the stage with these incredible musicians and all of these bands. So they had a giant scaffolding set up on the stage, and they had 3 drum kits, like fully striped, fully mic'd, and a whole bunch of other gear. and the show opened with a Perfect Circle, who played like 4 songs, and Primus played like 45 seconds later on the same stage. So like the drummer walked off, Freese walked off, the new drummer for Primus hopped up behind his kit, and Primus just started playing. So this was the theme of the entire night, which was awesome
So it's
because
like it's just a rotating cast. It wasn't
Mhm.
performer, performer, performer.
And they had some jokes about it because they said Primus, Pussifer, Primafer, a perfect circle, a perfect Sermus, like I forget exactly what it was, but they had different people from different bands coming and hanging out and playing their instruments, or there was some guest vocals on a lot of songs. There were some songs that had all 3 of the drummers for the night playing at the same time, which was kind of fascinating to watch. But Maynard came out during the Perfect Circle's like 3rd song, and he just said, "Hey, let's connect tonight. It's my birthday party. This means a lot to me. So put your phone in your pocket. I know it might feel weird, but we're going to get through this together. And we're just going to connect with each other tonight and not through our fucking screens." And like as soon as he said that, I was like looking at the like stoner dude next to me, just nodding his head like, "Okay, sir." And that was like, it was a sweet moment because everybody just kind of listened. And I think throughout the evening, there were a couple people that got caught taking some video. And I think they got kind of like, their wrist slapped or whatever. And a few people ended up getting kicked out, I think, because they just like wouldn't stop pulling out their phones. But for the most part, a song would end and the lights would turn off and the room was completely pitch black because it wasn't like illuminated by the glow of everybody looking at their Instagram at the same time. So it was actually kind of a sweet, beautiful moment for me. And as again, I prefaced, a huge poser, I guess, in this genre of music, I had really no choice but to just sit in my chair and decide what I liked about A Perfect Circle and Pussifer. And I knew quite a bit of Primus, but they played a lot of deep cuts that I wouldn't have ever heard otherwise. So I was thoroughly enjoying myself. I had a good time, and I walked away from it feeling different about what I had read about these shows where you're not allowed to have your phone out, So
Okay.
it was cool.
Well, I mean, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I know that I'm very much connected. I am the problematic millennial who can't put down his phone, usually because I'm catching invisible monsters that belong in my pocket.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I would probably get very anxious in between sets. But if there's a situation like that where there is no sets, obviously that changes things.
Yeah, and well, there was a moment too at some point where some stagehands and some band members, I think from some of the other bands, like carried a ping pong table onto the stage, and like Josh Freese and some other dudes from Perfect, like James Eha, I think, like played ping pong while the band was playing right next to him on stage. And there were moments that there were just different members of these different bands just like sitting on the scaffolding, like drinking a glass of wine, watching the other bands play or taking selfies with each other. It was a really intimate experience that they kind of shared with the crowd. And so, as you put it, I think if there was, 20, 25 minutes of downtime between bands, everybody would have pulled their phone out and then ultimately not put it back in their pocket when the next act started. So yeah, interesting for me. I think that all of those bands are talented. I might actually like them a lot more than I did previously. I thought everything Maynard did just sounded the same, and now I think I understand the like flavor profile differences between its different projects.
All right.
Whereas somebody might say, I remember I would always get butthurt when people said that Boxcar Racer and Blink 182 sounded exactly the same. That's bullshit, dude. They sound really similar, but
They are really close.
but it
I
was
think the
kind of
one
cool.
singer's mimicking the others. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, time. So yeah, that's my weird story about going to a concert that's I think above my attention span. but uh but yeah, let's get into some news. I think that you have some news for us, right?
Yeah, so there's this band, the Owen Guns. They're out of Australia. They've put out quite a few very politically charged singles over the last 5 years that I've gotten to write about a few times. And it's always super angry. It's always super fun. And this time it's no different. The singles track it's called Worst Wishes. And it's really a real slow build up to it. But once it kind of kicks off, you can tell that they're pissed, and you can tell that they want you to have fun learning what it is that they're pissed off about. Um, so for me, any sort of political punk that has come out, if it's not fun, it's not worth really listening to. I don't want to just be preached to. I don't mind being preached to, but there better be something more to it. And I feel like the Owen Guns pull it off really, really well. And this track is absolutely no different.
Sweet.
We also have a new track from Bone Shredder. It's their debut track. They haven't released anything yet, but it's made up of Brandy Moore, who was in the Moore Family Band. He was in Dan Adriano in the Emergency Room. He was in Get Married on Asian Man. And it's a very Weezer-esque, or at least Weezer-influenced track that they put out called Daylight. But they do have a new album that's coming out in September, a debut album that's coming out in September. It's on his own imprint, so it's called Sunken Teeth Records. But this is one that I'm going to be looking forward to. The same way I was looking forward to the Lemon Twigs and then Brian Daddario's solo album that came out earlier this year. I just feel like this is going to be a real good, like, summery throwback kind of vibe to it.
Yeah, no, and speaking of summer throwback, you were putting in an item for the new Starting Line song, right?
Yeah, so Starting Line is just announced that they've got their their only record in the last 18 years. So it's going to be their fourth album, but it's the first one in 18 years it's coming out. It's going to be independently released, which is a first for them. Obviously, if you've been following the band for the last 20 so years, you know that there's been nonstop struggles when it comes to the record labels. Drive Through Records and MCA have a famous back and forth that's worked out really well for the people who get money from those things, and not so well for the bands that are on the label. So it's nice to see that they're doing something on their own. So Kenny started their own imprint, I guess it is. It's called Lineage Recordings. But it's all going to be independently done, independently released. It's all by them. There's nobody that's got their fingers in the pot. And they released a new song today, and it's something else. I really, really enjoyed it. I don't know how much of that is the nostalgia of being the first time that I've gotten to hear one of their tracks in close to 20 years. But I really think that it sounded really good. Hopefully it's something that doesn't fade off. The track is called Sense of Humor. And like I said, I've been waiting for the Starting Line. My wife used to hate it, but at one of the Warped Tours, I want to say 2006, 2007, it was right after Say It Like You Mean It came out. They were giving out pocket calendars, and I kept the pocket calendar in my watch or in my wallet for at least 10 years. My kids finally threw it out on me. And it was just something so stupid that it was just a free hand me out. Meant absolutely nothing to the band, but I kept it in there, and I could keep track of the days even if they weren't on the right day of the week. So it really did absolutely no use for me, but it was something that stood out in my memory. So I've always been a big fan of theirs. I got to see them do I'm Real, where he played both the Ja Rule part and the J-Lo part by himself in time. So seeing it live without missing a beat was fucking amazing. It was probably one of the most astounding performances that I'd ever seen. Huge fan of the Starting Line, huge fan of everything Drive Through. So as of right now, I'm super in love with this, and I can't wait to hear the rest of the record.
So they are very, I think very specifically my wife's favorite pop punk band.
Awesome.
So, I've been
not all of
listening
her
to them.
taste is bad.
Yeah. But fuck you. No, I think that they're doing it the right way. I'll say that. As somebody that played pop punk music for a long time, there's really two things you can do as somebody entering their 40s and like still appreciating that type of music, and that is to write adult pop punk music. And I guess that's kind of an offensive way to word it, because pop punk shouldn't just automatically mean childish. But if we listen to like the newer Blink-182 music that comes out, that I think is 98% nostalgia based, right? So you could you could hear that for the first time and be like, how old are these kids? Like 20? And you're like, no, they're like, actually it's kind of embarrassing, they're like pushing 60. Starting Line put out an EP, like 3 songs, and like 10 years ago, something like that, and those 3 songs were amazing. It was like exactly what I want to happen to the pop punk bands that I grew up listening to. I want to hear them and hear that they've matured their sound, that they haven't, that they, what's that terrible Atari's record that they came out right in the middle of their discography? Something like Fart in the Night or something. Welcome to the Night, I think.
Welcome to the Night, yes.
So like, there's a lot of pop punk bands that grew up, and like, I think, I mean, and I felt it too on tour. You know, you'd be at a bar after the show, and you had a great night, but then you'd bump into a bunch of people your age at the bar, and they'd be like, "So how was your show?" Or were there a bunch of little girls there? And it kind of like stung a little bit. It was like, "Oh, fuck you, man! I like decent music. I know that Chris Rowe really liked like Cursive and like indie rock music, and so." The new Starting Line music sounds like everything I really enjoy about pop punk music that is being put out by adults that are writing about the problems that adults have, and not like skateboarding past a girl's locker.
Right. It's not I hate my hometown. It's, this is what's going on in real life. It's not, a lot of it was just, it was great, but it was generic. It all kind of revolved around the same 2 or 3 topics.
Mm-hmm.
When you grow up and you mature a little bit the right way on records, like it sounds like they have, and like you're saying they have, it's nice to be able to say that you kind of grew up with the band as opposed to you grew up and the band just kept doing the same shit.
Yeah, and Kenny Vasoli, he's very good at emoting into the microphone and expressing himself artistically. I'll put it that way. But there's no like new metal screaming on this new song, which was another I think attempted life hack of a lot of the career drive-through era pop punk bands. It's like, oh, we need to sound more mature, so let's just start writing about slitting our wrists, and we'll just scream more into the microphone. And that also didn't age very well. So yeah,
no, not at all.
I'm really excited for them, and I'm really excited about their new song and their new album, and I'm sure I'll be hearing a lot of it whether I like it or not. So
yeah, I like I said, I really can't wait. So I will extol the virtues for as long as I possibly can on anything drive-through, but specifically that, as long as my back's not getting walked on.
Hell yeah. All right, what else you got?
That's pretty much all that I've got in terms of news today. But we do have an interview that Dan Rischeks, he had put together with Angelo Moore and Chris Dowd from Fishbone. We recorded it while they were on a moving bus, so sound quality is a little bit of a struggle. But it seemed like a pretty good interview. There was a lot of talk about the new record that they've got coming out in a couple of weeks. And obviously they're about to hit the tours with both 2 dates on the Warped Tour and a tour with Less Than Jake, Bite Me Bambi, Suicide Machines, and Catbite, which, if the timing worked out, is definitely a show that I kind of need to be at.
Yeah, that's a killer fucking lineup. So let's check it out. Here is our interview with Fishbone.
We have a very special treat for everyone today, especially for me. We're here with a legendary ska punk band, and I don't even want to just say they're ska punk, because they're funk, they're soul, they're jazz, they're reggae, they're big band, they're everything. But when it comes to ska punk, there's probably none better. I mean, they definitely have the best ska punk song I've ever heard. And we're
thanks, man.
And we're here.
And which one is that?
My current favorite song is "All We Have Is Now."
Oh, you like that one?
That
Oh,
one is just
nice ska jam.
that's the jam, yeah. So if you haven't already guessed, we're here with the two founding members of Fishbone, the legendary Angelo Moore and Chris Dowd. Thank you so much for being here. This is truly like an honor, pleasure.
Thank you, man.
And we got a new album coming out. We'll get to that in just a second. But since we brought up All We Have Is Now, I'd like to maybe just touch on that because I know it came out like 2 years ago, but that's one of my favorite ska songs ever. And
we didn't write All We Have Is Now.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to touch on. Like, I know you worked with Fat Mike on that Estranged Fruit song, and then maybe you worked with him on All We Have Is Now. I don't know if that was the collab there, but I mean that song, the saxophone, the rolling organ sound, it's amazing.
Yeah,
and
that's me.
Yeah, that was you. So
that's me. That's Chris. That's Ann playing the sax.
Yeah.
Yep, that's all right. Guilty as charged.
And so, you wrote that was it with Fat Mike, or was he just producing it?
No, it was something that Norwood wrote that Mike sort of deconstructed
Gotcha.
a bit. And that's a weird record for me, man. I'm not gonna lie.
What was the name of that record anyway? People ask me, you know what? Let me tell you what people have been asking me lately. Like the last couple of people, they say, "Well,
we answer the question first."
I don't know, maybe we did, but I know they mentioned that. Well,
right now,
that last record with Fat Mike, that came out like a little like less than 5 years ago or something.
Like 2 years ago, yeah.
Right. So cause people keep saying, Fishbone hasn't put a record out in the last 10 years or something like that, and we have, and it was that record with Fat Mike.
They say record, they mean like a full length album.
Yeah, and that was an album, and I don't it doesn't really full length or whatever.
Not an album. It was an EP.
Okay, an EP. So it was a wax release, right? It was a wax release. Yeah, like
so when people are saying, last time you put out something, they mean you didn't put out an album.
Right. Well, they're not saying it like that. We put out an album. We put out a wax. We put out a wax release, right? With a vinyl. This is how I interpret shit. Because as you can see, we interpret shit differently.
Two different people,
right? So we put something out. What was it? 2009? Is that what you said it was? Okay, you don't know anymore. Okay. We interpret things differently, so we put something out.
I'm going to go with interpret.
So we put something out with Fat Mike, okay, and it was final. And I think it had maybe 5, maybe 6 songs on it. And then after that, just recently, we just put out a vinyl called Stockholm Syndrome.
Yes.
Put it out.
Well, it's coming out 27th, right?
It will be coming here. We're different. It will be out the 7th.
See how different we are?
It will be out the 7th.
Yep.
Okay, that's when the physical album will be out. CDs, vinyl, and thumb drive. Okay, and then it's going to be released on social media. What, 27th? That what you know? That's what I know.
27th is the date I got. Yeah.
Go ahead, tell them your version.
Well, according to the press I got, it's your 9th studio album and your first full-length album in 2 decades is what I was told.
I'm going to go with Dan for 500 final question.
But I guess we can just jump right into that one then.
Yeah, we should.
I recently saw, there's a lot of stuff on the album I want to talk about. But the first one, right off the bat, is I like Dog Eat Dog. And I don't know if that has something to do with your own personal master recordings that you recently have a story about getting control of.
Well,
you asking what Dog Eat Dog was about?
It's it's about getting control of your music, right? Is that?
Yeah, Chris, go ahead and expound on that one.
It's your song.
I know, but you know what I've been doing lately?
What?
Instead of interpreting my songs with the last couple of people I've been interpreting yours.
Weird.
Because I didn't write them, but I like to be able to interpret shit that I didn't necessarily write, because then I can put my spin on it, which is completely different from his spin.
That's all right.
I think, okay, well, if you want me to talk about
Go ahead, do it, man. I like it when we do this.
I think it is a song about our experience in the record industry, really. Like the ups and downs, the highs and lows, and really how it affected us and how it affects a lot of different artists who find themselves in the same mode. Not everybody, what does Angelo always say? I'm famous but not rich. It's kind of that whole description of what is the life and struggles of being an artist or a creative. And I think that story is universal, and it doesn't matter what you do. You know what I mean? You could be a sculptor, you could be an architect, you could be a radio station DJ, you could be, you know what I mean? If you're doing something creative, we always run into some sort of wall where somebody doesn't really understand what you're doing, or they misinterpret what you're doing, or they want to exploit what you're doing for their financial benefit and not yours. So I just think it's about that whole struggle. It's like a few years we realized that if we wanted to ever get our masters back, where a lot of artists had signed these deals and were getting their masters back, we started having these conversations with different lawyers, and you can't imagine the struggle that we went through just in these conversations. Like, I literally had a dude, and I'm not going to name his name, that wanted to represent us in helping us procure our masters. And the motherfucker had the balls. The motherfucker had the balls to try to get me to sign an agreement. And I don't know where you guys are, but in Los Angeles, there's this place called the House of Pies. It's on Vermont and Franklin.
Oh, this is a good one here.
And he literally tried to get me to sign a release in a fucking parking lot of House of Pies. That's not a bullshit story. You know what I mean?
Yep.
In the fucking House of Pies. That shit really happened.
Hey, man, some people will do it by any means necessary. Anywhere, anytime.
You guys will come out and fucking try. If you are dumb enough, or not even dumb, I don't think that's naive enough to do that. And people, I'm telling you, man, for this music and this art shit, you have weird hangers on. You have people around you. They will blow 17 different shades of smoke up your ass. Like multicolored, multi-shade pink smoke, blue smoke, orange smoke.
So need I say it's a dog-eat-dog leapfrog. Even in the parking lot, baby.
Is that really fucking guys, you think I'm bullshitting you? I would not lie like that. And the motherfucker came to see us play at the Grammy Museum. I'm not going to name names. I'm just telling you. And they will still show up with a smile on their face like nothing happened.
Well, that's a story.
Hey, man, you got a lot of people who did have different work ethics, different purposes in life to put the music out, to make the music and art happen, as ridiculous as it might be, to to Chris or whoever it is on one side of it, it may be a natural piece of work, like a regular way of living for the other person.
Just another day in the life.
Another day in the life, man.
You know.
Yeah, you got
And they have no qualms about if you're naive, they will fucking ass rape you violently, professionally,
and not think anything of it. And still say they love you.
Like P. Diddy ain't got shit on me, son.
So speaking of that naivety, you, Angelo, you were in San Francisco. You did some mentorship with some younger artists a couple of years back.
You said it last bit again. I was in what shift?
A mentorship. You would work with some up and coming like kids. You taught kids how to do stage things and stuff like that back in San Francisco. I think it was in 2022.
I in this the San Francisco library.
Yes. So between that and then between obviously you guys are going to be playing Warped Tour, you're going to be doing the summer circus. You're going to be running into a bunch of the newer breed of guys that are coming up in the scene, girls that are coming up in the scene. What is it that you try to extol to them so that they don't make mistakes like signing contracts at the House of Pies?
Well, first of all, man, it's always good to believe in what you do and what you're playing and what you're saying, right? That's first thing. First things first. You have to believe in that, even if nobody's looking at you. Secondly, you have to be aware of the business side of it, man, because there's a lot of people out there that will definitely rip you off, knowing that you don't really care anything about the numbers or the logistics. They just know that your mind is on the music. And so, when it comes down to the music business and business have nothing to do with one another, but yet they have everything to do with one another. Because people are selling, it's almost like a bird chirping or a cat or a dog barking or meowing. That's music to a lot of people's ears, but they never ask for any money. We need money for that so that we can pay for our rent, bills, living life expenses if we want to live here on the Matrix. So that's one thing I would tell a lot of the kids is to just try your best to keep up on the business side of it and know about that when you're selling or buying your music.
Yeah, because the other speaking of naivety is like people still think that the record industry is like something out of like some made for TV movie. Like the big A&R guy comes, hey, you got a lot of talent. We're gonna that shit don't exist no more. These people are out here trying to purchase catalogs and own publishing and own your artistic and creative rights as a commodity.
And sell your
not as a piece of art,
and have your music out there on social media and not get paid for it.
Not as a way to uplift people, not as a way for us to communicate to each other as a society and learn about each other's environments or lifestyle or way of life or beliefs or what have you. Literally to be like, I saw this movie recently called Mickey 17. You guys see that movie before? Where it's like
I have not.
They really keep replicating this guy, and then they go to this alien planet, and then they want to exploit the fucking aliens. And the one lady, because they're like these bugs, she cuts off the tail, and she's like, "Oh, it's going to make a delicious sauce." Like that's what our music is. It's like a delicious sauce that you can just sprinkle all over everything and make it super fantastic. For the uber rich, oh, I own that Basquiat in the corner. I purchased it for a really solid investment for Connor and I.
Now that reminds me of? That reminds me of living in the upside down.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
That is.
Right? That's
that
on the record, living in the upside down.
We are living in the fucking upside down.
Okay, so look, let me tell you what that reminds me of. Like I was mentioning earlier, Spotify and Amazon and all these different social media platforms that play the music and everything. So the listener and the fans, they get to hear the music for free. They get to hear anything they want.
They don't get it for free.
Yeah, but a very low price. The artist who makes the music hardly gets paid anything. This is why it's so important to support the artist.
Well,
this is just so it's me.
No,
this is so important.
Everybody.
That the fans. I'm just saying. Well, good. Yeah, because I'm sure more people think like this.
But
support the artist. Buy the album. Buy the physical product. Buy the merchandise, because that's where a lot of the artists and the live shows are really making their money from. They don't make it from these platforms.
Okay. Don't let the bastards get you down, Dan.
So I don't know if you got to answer your question, Ed, or not.
I definitely answered.
You were speaking of your of your recent performance, and you dedicated a song to all of our favorite president, and I saw he put out a little tweet about it. So he wasn't too happy about.
Dear president, ain't mine. You mean Herr President?
Yes, right.
Herr President Trump.
Yeah.
He's doing a lot for Black America. I'm learning how to tap dance again. He's trying to make America white again. Make America hate again. Ding, 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 ding. It's a country song that nobody wants to play.
Are you guys trying to say you think he's a racist piece of shit?
We do what to racist piece of shit?
Are you trying to say he's a racist piece of shit?
Yeah.
Am I tired of saying it?
No, are you trying to say that Trump is a racist piece of shit, right? That's what you said.
Yes.
Well,
him and a lot of others.
If it looks like a duck, it quacks like a duck. It ain't a llama.
If it salutes like a duck, it's also a duck, yeah.
Or save the llama for your mama. Either way.
Yeah, it's a pretty bad thing, but it's hard not to say anything about it. So,
yeah,
you can't not just fucking see a big ass elephant turd in the middle of the fucking living room and be like, "Oh, it's nothing."
I just want to know where the pee tapes are. You know what I mean?
Where the what?
The pee tapes. Clearly, someone has punk peed on, or the length that someone goes through to hide their sexual proclivities when it's we accept you, man. You like being peed on or whatever. It's not my thing, but you like it. I got no judgment, Mr. President. I got no judgment about that. You like to be peed on. Just let the tapes
go. Already said,
he clearly thinks his daughter is hot. I mean,
where do you think the minds of America are?
Isn't that like an episode of one of these shows where you find out the dark side of politics? I was somebody got mistakes.
Yeah, they don't do that while you're still in office. They want to make sure that they can get their commercial monies by saying how good or bad you are.
It's either that or my other thing is they're running the greatest psych-optic experiment on the American public that has ever been perpetrated. I'm not going to say who because I travel a lot, but I got some ideas because you just don't tap into this level of hatred without having a professional angle on how do I get the most destitute, naive, use the Bible as basically an opiate for the masses.
I think it's Bible prophecy.
Justify. I know the way you feel. Yeah, sure. But also, the Bible is being used to justify hatred and intolerance, which is odd because that's the exact opposite of what the intention was. I guess it's how woke means something bad now, and It just meant I'm aware before. It's like taking all that stuff and sort of just turning it on its gear. Very odd, but I guess people need, that's what we do as human beings. We need a target, we need a place, and we need someone to blame all our inadequacies on why we failed as human beings. So now, black people, the Hitler had the Jews, the Khmer Rouge had the Khmer Rouge, and so on and so on, and it goes and it goes and it goes. But if somebody thinks that they're going to come and make me go in somebody's oven or somebody's Kool-Aid party, have a step, Chris, you got me completely, just not in a basic way, but in, you have me so fucked up. Because I'm not going out like that. I just promise you. I don't think you are either, Dan, or you, Ed.
No.
We're not going to allow that to happen. So look, do what you got to do. Believe what you want to believe. I am woke, which means I'm aware of what's going on. I'm not in Mayberry thinking whoever the fuck is going to come with apple pie and save us all. That's not happening. We're going to, unfortunately, have to save ourselves. And everybody's exhausted. So I just say, bust out the TV tape now, and let's get this whole thing over. Let's just rip the cap right off and watch the president pee on young girls, which is probably what he was doing to get into, have fucking up. And we don't care. Pee on whoever you want to. It's privacy of your own. It's like you can do whatever freaky shit you're about. It's like as long as you aren't it's like drugging bitches. Let the Joker out of the television and into your world and sitting on your couch next to you now. You should have left his ass. Well, he's the singer of my band. I couldn't do anything about it. I have to accept you as you are. Angelo, Dr. Madbot.
Well, another song I wanted to touch on was the last call in America, and that one you got none other than George Clinton on, right? And if I remember right, you toured with him some last year, or was it the year before?
I've been with George several times. Yeah. I met him when I was about 16. We first started rehearsing. His son Tracy met a friend of ours who's no longer with us. Rest in peace, Titus. And Titus came to our rehearsal with Tracy Clinton, George's son. And the next thing you know, we were catapulted into this, 4-year relationship, family, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Family. George, at this point, is family. So we got our bag on. We're like, hey, it's just me and Angelo. We're trying to do what has never been done. And recalibrate this creative experiment we've been doing. And we usually sing on this song about the tipping point that we find ourselves in as society in America. And he was like, yeah. And we said, thank you. Yeah. So that's what happened.
Got it. The other songs I kind of made little notes of were like the Hellhounds on My Trail. I thought that was the most unique song, kind of like a two-tone bluesy soul, like super fun one, but definitely different than the other ones on the album. And then you had a real,
you gotta have
yeah, you gotta,
right.
And you had a real old school reggae one, though. Why Do We Keep on Dying, which I think you even said was kind of like a reference to a Peter Tosh kind of song. That was one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, I mean, that Steppers group there's been a lot of people, Bill Post, Peter Tosh, Burning Spear. It's kind of like a very traditional sort of reggae style rhythm within all those different rhythms of reggae, classic reggae songs. And if I'm gonna be honest, I'd probably say it was more inspired by Black Crowes. So anybody. But I think the most important thing for that one is message. Yeah, I mean, music is cool.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Well, I told you what my favorite Fishbone song is, our favorite ska song of all time is. What about you two? What's your favorite Fishbone song? What's your favorite song to play live? Favorite one you're most proud of?
These songs right now.
These ones right now?
Songs, this record.
Is there one in particular?
I like all of them.
All of them?
I think I look at this record in particular, Stockholm Syndrome. I think of it as like one big song because it's a story, and each thing is telling like this through line of the record. And I like All About Us and Follow the Cloud. Those are the first two that came to mind. But they're all good. And some days, some songs are my favorite.
Yeah. Which one is that?
I listen to the record because it's a journey, man. You know, some days I have some favorites, some weaknesses, and others. I like Secret Police. Good one. That's a good song.
Oh yeah.
Because again, it's like it's about the music, but it's also it's about the story that's being told. And we are living in some very secret police kind of times. Straight getting away with people, straight getting away with murder. Secret club.
You're just about to start your U.S. leg of your tour now. You're gonna start off, I think, this weekend, right? I'm not sure when this is gonna air, but you're starting this weekend.
Yeah, we play our first show in Atlanta with us and Lexington and Bobby Debbie and Suicide Machine.
Mm-hmm. You're gonna be on the Vans Warp Tour now. It's coming back, correct?
Yeah, we're playing a couple of Warp Tours
in a couple of weeks. Yeah, in DC.
It'll be my first time doing Warp Tour. Angelo's done it several hundred times. Yeah, he's like the unofficial mascot of Warp Tour. That's
So,
it.
Chris,
Straight Warp Tour. He made balloon animals for kids. It was incredible.
So, Chris, I got to know, along this tour, what's the you're the culinary expert.
I made the balloon animals for what was all the happening bands on there. You know, my balloon animal was my saxophone, and I was a roving artist pretty much on the Warped Tour, and I have my own dance medicine cabinet. I put on shows in there, had art gallery going on. All my mad stuff.
I must have missed that. I haven't been to a Warped Tour since like 2002 LA one, but so it's been a little while. I must have missed it. Would have liked to have gotten the balloon.
You know how they say James Brown was the hardest working man in show business?
Yep.
Angelo is the second hardest working man in show business.
Yeah. Do you have anything else you want to plug, like your mad vibes or your artwork and same thing with you, Chris.
So I wrote this record called the CD Orchestra. Maybe you've heard it, maybe you haven't. You should check it out.
Okay.
I put it out after I quit the band.
Okay.
In '95.
Yeah.
It came out in '97. It got reissued on Escape Hatch Records. If you like ska, if you like reggae, if you like cool music, you should check out the CD Orchestra.
I have heard of it, but I haven't listened to it recently. I will though. Yeah.
You should, man. But then you're gonna be like, damn.
Flogging a dead horse was my jam.
Yeah, because I wrote that about Fishbone because I was mad. That's what you being passive aggressive right now. Well, it's okay. I love you anyway.
I think
So after you did that, and Chris, after you did all that, and you left Fishbone for a little bit. I've read that John Cusack got you to rejoin.
Different dudes quit the band and they go and live their life elsewhere and they making music and doing their own thing.
I did a thing, and you'll never let me live it down.
You learn how to forget about what the person
I was
did.
mad.
You learn how to forget about what the person did. And you focus in on the music you are. I feel they are producing during that time.
I was hurting.
That's how I do that. So when I was listening to the orchestra, I was digging some of the songs on there. Actually,
Dark time.
you know who's got another good solo project is very well. Here in Detroit, and he's got some good jams on his most recent release.
Just like that kind of thing.
Like that kind of thing.
okay. Yes.
But I was sad.
I know. We were all sad. See, Chris, what? It's Chris.
And Bully alive, and fucking the rest of all the people on the clown car.
All the
You're
motherfuckers
the
in the clown car.
king of the clown car that ever clowned the car.
Tell them the story. You jump back in.
I jumped back in with scuba gear. I came back. I was like, I have to save my friend Angelo.
Now, rumor has it that John Cusack is part of the reason that you came back, or at least kind of pushed you back in that right direction. Is that true?
What happened? And
John Cusack helped you come back to Fishbone and Hot Tub Time Machine?
Hot Tub Time Machine.
yeah, I got Cubicle, my demo. That's how good of a demo it was. That's what I did. I'm kind of a demoologist. I don't know if you know that. But I make very good demos. They're very good. I make very good demos. And
They cooked a good pizza too.
Yeah. What's this I hear about pizza? You have something coming out like your own pizza?
Me and Angelo are going to, and you should tune in. So when I quit the band, I was kind of going a little crazy. I was sad, like I said. I drank a lot, and I can see you're a big drinker. So you was there. I don't know what's in those cups, but that's none of my business. So I didn't know what to do, so I went to culinary school. And I cooked for a long time because cooking is a lot like writing songs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You need your mashed potatoes,
Yeah.
chicken, and then I have mushy peas, and we have like fresh English peas, and then it's like you get to do all these things and combine all these weird things. And, maybe I'll make a catfish encrusted Captain Crunch.
And I'm the one that comes in and eats it.
So he's been bugging the shit out of me to do some cooking on our little.
That's right, the big tomato and celery stick special.
Yeah, so we're gonna call it the big tomato and celery stick special.
That's right.
And I'm gonna cook some stuff.
Do a little talking, a little philosophizing,
Talking, a little shit talking.
music going on while we
can talk shit.
So the pizza is not something you're serving; it's something that you're gonna do like a recipe on.
Yeah, like I'm gonna do.
Nice.
And
What's your go-to to cook on the road when you're in the bus?
What's my spot to cook on? We're gonna build a thing. I tried to. It's hard because there's never any shit to really cook on. So you just have to do some makeshift vibes. I don't know George Foreman greatest thing. Is that what it was you got? No, he keeps calling it George Foreman Grill. It's a panini press. So
I think that we're losing connection with
Yeah,
you.
I think we're losing it.
With
Yeah.
the truck moving. I just wanted to take a second and just say thank you for the for giving us your time here today.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Oh,
Really appreciate it.
right. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sweet. All right. Thanks, Fishbone. Thanks, Dan, for putting the interview together. That was interesting.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun with it.
And I am excited to hear the Fishbone record. I have always loved that band. I've always loved what I heard. I used to catch them on like MTV2 when I was a child.
Okay.
And
So
they-
my introduction to them actually came through Annette Funicello from the Mickey Mouse Club. She was in a movie that they played constantly when I would fake sick in the late 80s, early 90s. It was called Back to the Beach. And she did a song where Fishbone was the backing band, and all she did was say ska, ska, ska over and over again from what I can remember. But that was my introduction until Say Anything came out, and I realized that John Cusack is definitely somebody that I would change my meaning in terms of relationships with.
That's amazing. And you said that was a Disney original movie?
No. She was from the Mickey Mouse Club. It was
She
her
was
and Frankie
from the
Valli.
Oh, okay.
Like there's
I-
the line in Stand By Me where they're talking about Annette's tits coming out on the side and the A and the E hanging low.
Yes.
Now she's 65 in this movie and still doing beach movies, but it's with Fishbone's in it. There's a bunch of weird cameos in it. It's silly and intentionally campy. It's fun.
Because I fell into like a terrible Disney Nickelodeon-esque movie binge recently. I watched the movie Brink that features a Suicide Machine song, and they loop it like terribly. It's from their self-titled record, you know, the like kind of more easygoing record. And this is like a rollerblading movie. And so it's a tacky 90s rollerblading movie with ska punk music in it.
All right.
And
yeah, so I would never watch any 80s or 90s rollerblading movie that's not called Airborne with Shane McDermott and Jack Black, because that movie's fucking amazing. But now I may have to check out Brink.
we're connected for life, Ed. Sweet. All right. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. If we keep this streak going, I'm going to fucking Mexico. I'm going on vacation. I'm going to see if, I'm going to be like on a beach looking for episode 6 from you guys next week. Can you do it? Do you got it in you? Jeff, are you listening to this shit?
I'm sure Jeff will pull something out for you.
Oh, I can't wait. It's an important moment in my vacation to catch up with my boys with That's Good Enough For Me. So as always, check out that'sgoodenough4me.com. Reach out to us in the contact section. Tell us what we're doing wrong. Tell us that you really want us to talk about the movie Airborne in a full episode just dedicated to that movie.
Oh, shit, can we do that for real?
What a gem. What a gem of a fucking movie. Oh,
The
my
Devil's
God.
Backbone is both the scariest and greatest place on earth.
All right. Well, I think we know what we're talking about here after we hang up. So for now, let's spare the listener the one of them. And
Well,
thanks
there's
for
the one
tuning
plus
in.
the 4 of us that are all going to re-listen to it at least once.
That's true. All right. Well, thanks everybody.